Vodafone presents the pre-match.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the ESL Pro League Season 8 North America Division, and we're back with another match day over here. We had a couple of exciting matches yesterday, but it's also looking to heat up to a pretty exciting week so far. Match day number 6 now, Mitch, and well, firstly starting things off, Renegades versus Luminosity. Can't argue about that if you're an Aussie fan.
Yeah, definitely not. I mean, new Renegades roster, get to see, already off to a great start in the Pro League, and then continuing on with our Luminosity boys that we got to see a game from yesterday against their Brazilian counterparts. I mean, great first game to get into things.
I mean, to be fair as well, though, Luminosity are looking to pick up a couple of victories on the board for now. They weren't looking too particularly strong against Ince yesterday, so a couple of questions to be asked there ultimately. But, I mean, look at that at the top. Ghost Gaming at this stage. I mean, sure, they're the ones who played the most so far, but they haven't actually lost so far this season.
Yeah, I mean, unsurprisingly, they definitely have a little bit more to play for than a lot of the other teams in this, in terms of, you know, this being quite an important tournament for them. You know, in terms of some of the people in the roster, it might be some of them first times in the Pro League, rather than, you know, previously some of them had been in the Pro League on the lower end of things, and now they're at the top of the board, so we're seeing a full switch around. I mean, some of these players used to be on the bottom of the board, now they're off to an amazing start, beating some of the better teams in the league as well.
Yeah, I mean, they took the 2-0 over MIBR, and yesterday they showed that composure to come back from a 12-3 deficit against Envy to then take the map actually 16-12, so taking, what was it, 13 rounds in a row on Dust2. I mean, that was a little bit down to, okay, look, their CT side obviously was really, really strong, but Envy on their T side, as well as, I guess, to some extent, Ghost T side were, I mean, had a couple of problems, looking a little bit weak there.
Yeah, definitely. I felt like they just didn't have their full focus. Their individuals weren't really popping off as much, but once you moved over to the CT side, you know, all it takes is Wardell to just get like a 3k every round. All it takes is for people to just do their job and, you know, 1 for 1 every now and then, close out all the clutch rounds, and all of a sudden you're cooking with gas.
Yeah, well, I mean, these teams are playing for that chance to go over to Odense at the end of the day, so obviously for Ghost Gaming, it's a great start. I mean, for Renegades, they want to be continuing it as well, so, I mean, taking off the Aussie bias a little bit so far. 6-0, I think it is, a start in the league with 1 victory in overtime. Let's be realistic, with the new roster, that is still quite good in terms of everything considered.
Yeah, definitely. I think the main thing is that, you know, the people that they took and put into their roster are people who have a lot of tenure and experience, you know, playing lots of leagues in the domestic scene, and the main thing is they're some of the most consistent players in terms of, you know, banging out all of your online Pro League games and playing all the leagues and stuff like that, and just putting up consistent numbers and consistently giving the same level of performance. So obviously when you slot them into a league, it can be sort of tough making that transition in terms of, now I'm going to go to the other side of the world, I have to readjust my whole setup, I have to readjust my sleeping schedule and still try to output the same level of performance. But we've seen them at least be able to play at like 70-80% of what they were before, so hopefully we're going to see them improve even more and get more comfortable. And yeah, I mean, I don't know what their score could look like after that happens, but I don't know how it's better to beat 5-0.
I mean, we'll have to take a look at, obviously, how the season goes, and then we're only at match day number 6, just remember that. So still a lot of games to be played just for now, as we should be heading into, well, on the mainstream, we've got Complexity up against Envy first up, then Ghost versus Renegades, and you were saying earlier on, that is definitely a matchup to be watching, considering that Renegades and Ghost so far have been sitting at the top of the leaderboard, even though there have been, I guess, limited amount of games being played just yet. NRG will face off against Rogue as that final match over there in the mainstream, but over here today, we've got first up, as we were saying, Renegades up against Luminosity Gaming, then followed by NRG up against Ince, and then MIBR against E United. And I mean, for this MIBR versus E United matchup, it's not looking, I mean, it was a 1-1 split yesterday in a different league. So it's not as if, just looking briefly ahead, that E United are out with a chance. Every single team has a chance to take a map here tonight. And I mean, similarly so for Luminosity, they need to start taking a map soon to try to make their way back into the Pro League. I think they've only got a single map victory so far, which is, for a team with that experience and caliber, it's a little bit surprising in all honesty.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like a lot of these games today, you should be pretty comfortable with, you know, the team that is obviously a little bit strong on the stronger side, but taking the 2-0s. But all of the underdogs in these matchups, your Luminosities, your Ints, your MIBR, your E United rather, not your MIBR, they have potential to take a map or in close fashion against the counterparts that they're playing. So that always makes them entertaining Counter-Strike.
I'll have to see how the matchup between MIBR as well as E United go, because E United obviously did start off a little bit weaker at the beginning of the season. Their first matchup was against the Renegades, and Renegades dispatched them with pretty big ease at the end of the day, so it wasn't as if it was even close, to be realistic. But E United did definitely show a little bit of depth. I just don't think they showed up in their first day. Looks like they're starting to get the run going a little bit, so this is not something that should be taken for granted for both sides, really. I mean, once again, very early on in the season, we're talking about how these, I mean, if you lose a map at the moment, it doesn't seem like the end of the world, but we've seen how much it does mean that, okay, if you drop a map against an opponent you're favored against, it could actually affect your chances in the future.
Yeah, look, I really think that the league mentality shouldn't be, you know, oh, we have, you know, 30 matches or whatever that we got to play, you know, however many it might be. It should just be one match at a time. This is what we're doing today. Should we beat this team on paper? Are we favored? Let's just do our best today. It doesn't mean that you're going to come in and bring your 150% into every match, but you got to at least bring your 80% and just try to do your best to be able to win the games that you should win. And you know, if you're one of those underdog teams, just try to get as many wins on the board and try not to get relegated and continue your development and performance improvement as a team.
Yeah, you can see that from E United, one of the teams that came through the ESL Mountain Dew League. And, I mean, you'd probably say as well for a lot of the teams inside the Mountain Dew League, they're the ones that are also looking at these and going, like, this is the spot they want to get at. There's always that one, I think, qualification spot for whoever actually wins the Mountain Dew League, as far as I know, or comes first.
I think it's like a promotion relegation competition usually. I think does first get auto-promoted?
I think it gets auto-promoted because E United were first from the previous season of the Mountain Dew League, and they were auto-promoted in through that relegations promotions period.
Fair enough.
Obviously it's that big bolster in E United making the most of the opportunities so far. They qualified obviously for ECS and now qualifying for EPL as well. They're actually they're testing the mettle against some of the top tier opposition inside the NA region, and they're going to only improve from here. So that's always the dream for a lot of these tier 2 teams, or even tier 3 NA teams, you'd say, looking at the Mountain Dew League, is trying to get into that upper echelon to then push your art a little bit further.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, your Pro League is sort of some of your top tier online competition. You know, it's the thing that everyone strives to be competing in. If you're sort of that, you know, young player who plays at home, you know, used to your online competitions, you play your ODCs, you play your cups, you play all your ECA leagues and stuff like that. But, you know, there is another level above that, which you know, you're probably referring to, which is, you know, trying to get into your Premier tournaments and stuff like that. And I feel like for both of these teams, they're not going to be satisfied with just playing online and having good online results. You know, you've already seen Luminosity playing in your Pro League for quite a while now, given that they had different little, rosters than this. But all of these players are definitely not fresh and new to Pro League, so this is another day at office for them. As for some of the Renegades boys, though, it's a little bit of a different story. You know, just coming in the first season in North America.
Yeah, I mean, Gratisfaction had a bit of a taste over at Dallas earlier this year as part of the Greyhound gang. And then for Liaz, he's always been the one where, I don't know how to put it this way, is that Renegades had to find a support player out of everyone, and Liaz is actually the perfect fit. It's just really, really weird to be thinking about, okay, Liaz is what we normally call a star player over here in Australia, but or in the Oceanic region, but he's the one that's, I don't know, just seems to perform in any single position. He's just never happy with how well or badly he says he performs, which is pretty abnormal when you think about it, because a lot of the times, like, you get this big opportunity, you can just say, oh, I'm playing the support position, so I'm not fragging or doing my role properly. And then I think with this Renegades new outlook, I really think that this is really Renegades version 3 now, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah?
3 or 4, yeah.
3 or 4. So, and they look like they're all revitalized. Kassad's come back into it. They might be able to play it faster as well. So, I mean, it's looking a lot better in terms of the approach that they're taking already. It just looks a lot fresh. Like, their mentality's been completely reset, and they're looking to really push their way forward at the moment and just try to take it as, I guess, one game at a time, which is something we didn't really see for quite a while.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's kind of interesting. I think the thing is, like, when you're talking about Liaz, you know, playing the more supportive roles and just filling all the gaps and stuff like that. I feel like Renegades has always been that team where they haven't cared as much about statistical performance and haven't cared as much about, oh, I have to be the player that, like when JKS came into the team or whatever, everyone's like, oh, he's just going to drop 30 every game and they're going to win non-stop, and that's just not the case, you know. When you get to that high level of competition, when you go overseas, you know, and stuff like that, it's not as easy to just stomp like you would in your domestic competition, and we see that from people people that come from every region of the world into like, yeah, you know, from their domestic scene into the international scene, you know, all of the premium talent, all the cream rises to the top, and it's just not possible to, you know, drop those kind of numbers. So I really feel like, you know, as we've seen, you know, you have your mainstay players for a long time. Obviously, Stilo's not in the roster anymore, but Azur and stuff like that, you know, it's not players that are going to blow everyone's socks off every game. You know, it's just players who do their role, and as long as Renegades as a team are happy with how the players are playing and how the players' mentality is, then they're going to keep them on.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing as well is that Kassad's come back as well. So obviously Kassad left about, I think it was 3 or 4 months ago, just after the Asia minor, if I remember correctly.
You know, dates are, it's weird as
About
to see,
some.
yeah.
I mean, like the whole thing here is that looking at the Betway odds, I'd say they probably favour Renegades at this stage, just briefly, because, I mean, for Luminosity at this time, it's just, I mean, looking at the performance against Ince yesterday, it wasn't anything too flashy or particularly impressive. And, I mean, there were a couple of standout moments, but there wasn't anyone going absolutely hard. Whereas anyone that was looking at Renegades' game might be going, all right, Gratisfaction was looking... this sounds... Once again, like as a Australian/New Zealand caster, an oceanic person that covers a lot of it, Gratisfaction has the ability to pop off a lot of the time, but the fact is that he's been doing consistently well in the last couple of games that he's been playing for Renegades, which is a really scary factor, and I want to see how the AWPers on Luminosity, so your Henny and Lucas, go against Gratisfaction.
Henny and Yell, you mean?
Yeah, Henny and Yell,
Yep.
but I mean, we saw a lot of the Luminosity players actually pick up the AWP. Like, I saw Lucas, I swear I saw him pick up the AWP occasionally. It's really weird because you have 3 or 4 people ready to pick up the AWP and have a go at it. Whereas with Renegades, it's pretty set. You're not going to see the AWP in anyone else's hands that often.
Yeah, JKS is kind of that secondary, but that's more of like a bomb site thing. Like on Train on Inners, he'll pick it up. On Inferno B, he'll pick it up.
On Dust2.
Yeah, there's certain positions where he'll be able to pick it up and make good use of it. I mean, yeah, just because he's capable.
Whereas, like, for Luminosity, obviously the key to success for a lot of the time has been on that double AWP with Yell as well as Henny. So I've also seen other people take the AWP on that team, but it's going to be pretty intriguing to see how that matchup works in terms of the AWP v AWP. I mean, rifling, at the end of the day, Luminosity, I still feel like have a little bit more prestige, but they weren't able to convert that yesterday. I wasn't too particularly convinced by their showing against Ince Esports, and I mean, coming up against Renegades at the stage, Luminosity are currently sitting with a single victory. They need to start turning things around. And for Renegades, they have just come back from an overseas trip, so we always talk a little bit about that factor, about coming back from an overseas trip. You might be a little bit jet-lagged. You might not be in the best condition of taking these online leagues, I guess, to your best performance.
Yeah, look, I think they did okay at the overseas event. I think they sort of fulfilled expectations. I wouldn't say they exceeded expectations, so you got to be happy with that for your first event. But I feel like, you know, they've had enough time to sort of readjust, and the thing is that because they didn't exceed expectations, that always means that you get home, and since you're a bit unsatisfied, you got to keep working harder. And especially when you have 2 new players who are just straight into their first, you know, pro team or whatever, first international team, they're never just going to be happy with settling down and just being like, oh, okay, it's fine if we lose this game or whatever. They want to make a splash. They want to follow in the footsteps of your Rickies, who, even if they don't stay on the team like Renegades after they transition, they make a big enough splash and they're good enough individually, and they impress enough people to where they can make a career out of it even after Renegades might not be interested in keeping them on anymore.
I mean, we have to see how it goes, because I was initially going to say that the Australian scene, or the oceanic scene, does have a lot of talent that's coming forward as well. I mean, even you're looking at the Asian scene as well. I mean, that was a brief stint. It's looking very reminiscent, right? Where right now, once again, there's more Australian talent going overseas. Just like 2 or 3 years ago, we had Machine Gun for a brief stint over there in the NA on Splice. It did happen, as far as I remember, but it wasn't anything particularly fancy in terms of anything else. But you're looking at your next crop coming forward, and you're looking at, I guess, the next generation of this NA talent also coming forward as well. It is an exciting time to be watching Counter-Strike. It is definitely great to see that the bar has been raised a lot in terms of everything. Like, that standard from 2 years ago we're talking about has completely changed. Like, you look at E United now, and sure, they might be one of the weaker teams in the league, but you put them 2 years back, like their current form, they'd probably be a top tier team at the moment. Like, that's how far the level has really been pushed.
Here's the thing, everyone, you know, the game's 5 or 6 years old now. Everyone's sort of individual skill is really, they've had enough time to catch up to all the top pros. You know, everyone's getting closer and closer in terms of individual skill to the point where you are not that far off to be able to just be able to transition, you know, whatever you were doing to be able to compete with some of the better players in the world. But it's a difference of mentality, and it's a difference of professionalism and sportsmanship and all that kind of stuff to when you go into an actual, you know, game against one of the better teams in the world. You go into a high pressure environment, you go into a LAN setting. That's the difference, you know. It's not about how good you can move the mouse onto someone's head and how good your mechanics are and stuff like that. Obviously, there are some people who are just, you know, gifted and talented and stuff like that, and they are that much further ahead of everybody else in terms of being able to do those things. But as a general rule, like across the board, there's a reason why you see so many of these tier 2 players and stuff like that all around a 1 rating, or, you know, between like a 0.98 and a 1.05, and you only see certain players, you know, up above that, whether they're that because their talent is, you know, just that much higher, or because they're being set up in positions to succeed and in fragging roles and stuff like that. But there's like I said, you know, there's a reason why there's so many players who are just around that area. It's because everybody's at least able to go, you know, 1 for 1 once you get to a certain level. It's just a question of when you get to that higher pressure game, when you get to that, you know, game against a better quality opposition, how you actually going to perform. And I don't think that's going to be as relevant of a question for the first couple games here, but when you go to like your E United MIBR or whatever, if MIBR is really bringing like their B game or whatever, E United needs to actually step up and, you know, apply more than just their individual skills and their talent and stuff like that to be able to go and make a good performance.
Oh, on the flip side as well, is that you see a lot of the teams these times where you say, for example, the lower tier teams, they will actually step up to the occasion. A lot of the time, they test what we consider the favored team. They go, all right, you're the favored team, you know, your MIBR, you're a team of champions. We're a team of, I shouldn't say nobody's in the case, but obviously a team that have not veterans of the scene just yet.
A team that hasn't won 2 majors. Let's just go with that.
Hasn't won premier titles, but they can still do damage. And they are hungry for these opportunities. They want to be chomping away at MIBR. And they're going to be relishing the chance of going maybe 1-1 again, maybe even 2-0 this time. Anything's possible. Well, that is looking forward to the end of today. We're just starting off right now with match day number 6 in Renegades against Luminosity. We're starting off on Dust2. Luminosity needs to be bringing a better performance than we saw yesterday against Ints. They have only put a single win so far in this season from about 3 or 4 series being played, which is not something that this team will be happy with. Whereas for Renegades, if they're able to take another 2-0 for today, they will be standing near the top, and then they'll be facing it against Ghost later on.
Straight into it. Steel's got a kit and Nade. We've got 4 armors and then a bunch of utility over here on the Renegades boys. JKS has been given a P250 and a smoke. P250 and armor rather. Smoke goes out onto Xbox, looking like a fair few players heading towards that B bomb site. Gratisfaction making his way up middle. Might either throw some pressure towards middle or throw some pressure towards Cat. We'll see what happens while the rest of the boys go out B. And I really feel like right now, this is a very interesting smoke. That's going onto door. That's great.
Yeah, smoke off B doors. Henny is going to get completely railed. He's blinded off. And, I mean, Gratisfaction, he doesn't have any armor at this stage. He's dropped his utility, so he can just dance around and just be an absolute nuisance for the CTs.
What a great pistol. That smoke never seen before. I mean, it's not over yet. This Luminosity player is still coming up mid, but dear God.
Okay, yep. No, this is all over.
He doesn't even have armor. That's a 3k. He throws the crucial smoke as well. And I really feel like, you know, that pistol, very cool. Like, nice new smoke and stuff like that. And they made good use of the utility. Obviously, the entries went very cleanly. That's the kind of pistol you need to be very careful if you're playing a more confident team. Like, you run something like that against, like, a premier team, like your Vegas Squadrons or something like that, like at a Star Series like they've been at recently. They're going to run up Cat and just shoot Grat in the face when he tries to line that smoke up for sure. But Luminosity, obviously not known to be that hyper-aggressive as we saw yesterday. I mean, just matching up against their Brazilian counterparts. They definitely were the more tactical of the 2 teams, or they were trying to be anyway. Renegades here taking long control. Pretty good way to run your anti-eco nowadays is just to death squad out long and just take your fights. This time though, Renegades just grabs control of it. JKS seeing how much money he can make from the pit. So far having a bit of a struggle actually killing any of these players.
Yep, so there goes the UMP. Eventually the death ball comes in, it succeeds. But for the rest of the Renegades players, they're just going to shuffle over to the B bomb site instead. I think Luminosity is still going to come in and try to do a bit of damage. And Renegades don't want to be losing any of these rifles. A few AKs up, and CTs will be able to buy in the next round as well. Don't forget about that. Jacob has spotted out one, but not connecting with the shots just yet. Now the CTs are going to be starting to swing on him, and that's one of the AKs lost. Like I was saying, every single AK that's going to be dropping is one more chance for Luminosity to potentially even pick up a rifle when the bomb explodes, and a chance for Luminosity to do a little bit more damage.
For sure. I mean, and let's not take away from the fact every time you're getting a kill with those pistols, or if anybody's getting a kill with the SMG, heading into the first buy, that's another smoke, another flash that you wouldn't have had previously, maybe even a kit. You know, you're looking at the difference between your 4400s and your 5Ks on your players.
Well, here's the thing, right, is that Yell's now got the AK-47, so he can just buy up a full set, and he's happy. He's a happy chappy at this particular point in time.
For sure, yeah.
Everything, and he's still got 2K. That's after 3 rounds.
And he's keeping the ump as well.
Yeah, I mean, if he gets boosted onto count or he tries to contest close long, it's still a serviceable weapon, and already Luminosity have placed a lot of priority in taking this bedroom area or this long area, making sure Renegades can't push very easily.
So Luminosity actually threw that smoke that you see there on the left towards long. The point of that being, if the long take comes out from Renegades, you have a smoke wall to be able to cross to the pit quite safely, or you can even push through that smoke with a well-timed flash. Can make it difficult. That's something that we see a little bit more in the pro scene as well. Also, some CT teams like Mouse Sports will throw a smoke on the corner, like the T's do, to be able to cross. And some flashes through that, and they'll try to take the fight with at least one rifler. Based off how well that guy frags out, you either just retake and you give them long, or you are pretty comfortable with trying to clean up and finish things off from there. Renegades, they grab cat control. They're just going to play passively towards long, let Luminosity have it, see if they can throw a bit of an exi from cat, and how well they're able to use their utility. There is 2 Luminosity players here though, and we'll see how well Liaz gets his lurk on from long. In comes the hit here. Molotov exchanged by the CTs.
That's a lot of damage already done, and they're still trying to pursue forward, but Lucas, burnt out from position, can only get that single kill for now. Yell trying to stay hidden at the car, spraying down. He's trying to keep cool, calm, and collected for now. Grenades also being flung in his direction, but Liaz is not allowed to escape afterwards. That's a lot of position loss right now for Renegades. Still trying to come in from the CT area, and Azza trying to stay the high ground, missing the spray. Now it's all down to Jacob. He's able to at least chip away at one. It is going to be a short plant. No kit for the CTs. Oh, sorry, no grenades.
Henny's got a kit.
Yep, Henny's got a kit, but they don't really have a smoke grenade. And Jacob, Neck is a little bit too eager. Jacob just trying to play with the timing at the moment. He spotted that Henny's not in the defuse, and that round is all over and done for. Jacob, well played on that 1-on-3 clutch, but Neck is just a little bit too enthusiastic, trying to pressure the T before Henny was in position for the defuse.
I dare say that's a pretty scary prospect there for Renegades. I mean, they went into their first gun, but they really didn't use a lot of time stalling at the utility. Like, when you watch a team like Mouse Sports or Big or something on this map take cat, a lot of the time they throw a late cat execute. And a lot of people might think, oh, why are they waiting so long on catwalk and just like waiting around for something to happen? Well, the thing is, they're waiting for those Molotovs that Luminosity threw when Renegades went for that hit to be expended. They're waiting for the smokes to all be run out before they throw their cat execute and try to close out the round from there. And that time, you see how much damage Renegades take into the site. Luckily, Jacob clutches that out 1v3 on 10 HP, but realistically, you know, that's not going to happen very often, Kev.
No, Renegades
that really
definitely
should have been a Luminosity round.
Yeah, I mean, Renegades, Jacob played very well around the circumstances, and Luminosity, you'd have to say as well, made a bit of a mistake in overextending on the behalf of Neckers, but at the end of the day, it's still going to be a Renegades victory, and they're going to be making their way up into this A bomb site. Yell, no armor with this AWP. Shot's going to ring true for the first time.
JKS very aware that cat control does belong to the CTs. Yell's doing a great job though, picking them as they try to cross the from long onto the bomb site. JKS picking up Neckers. He's just going to chill around mid. He doesn't really need to do anything here. Bomb's going down for the T's, so he doesn't need to overextend. Liaz picks up Henny, trying to move up elevator. Yell trades one back onto Azza, and it's a 2-on-2. Yell looking for the, I think it's the 3 or 4K from this point. That flash allows Liaz to cross back, and this is the position you don't want to contest Liaz in, unless Yell's so on point, Kev. Jesus.
Yell's definitely turned up to play today, but JKS trying to pick off Steel at the moment. He's going to miss a lot of shots, and now trying to play around the edge of the smoke. Yell, he's finally going to miss, and that could have been absolutely costly. Now Steel trying to close the gap. Smoke should be fading soon. Steel can't land the spray, and JKS will be able to clutch it out, but these rounds are coming very close. Luminosity definitely giving a good punch in, but individually, Renegades just able to clutch it out at the end, and we're going to see a very early pause coming out.
These shouldn't be Renegades rounds. Like, Luminosity's doing a good job. It's like we saw yesterday between Ghost and Envy. Like, Envy on their T side, they were getting like 2-on-2s, 3-on-3s, and putting themselves in favorable scenarios. But when it came down to the duels, when the bomb was planted and people were running in for the retake, they just missed a couple crucial shots, or they overpeaked a certain area, and you know, it only takes 1 or 2 mistakes. You know, this is a high level of CS at this point. All these individuals have the potential to be able to multi-frag even in their pressured situations. Like you saw JKM on the 10 HP. You saw Liaz and JKS there. JKS grabs 2 in the post plant and 1 in the mid round, or however it went down, you know. Like, you need to be very careful, because you can do as many good things as you like. Yell can get 3 picks while people try to cross from long to cap, but that doesn't mean the round's all done and dusted until, you know, all the T's are dead. And you can't take that for granted.
Upper push going to come out, but JKS is in the position to nullify this. Steel and Henny just going straight into the crosshairs, and Jacob also wants to join in the party at the moment. Now knows where the last 2 are. Unfortunately, not enough HP to be putting up that huge fight. And at the end, Nekiz knows that JKS is going to be inside this tunnels area. He's going to be trying his best to make sure he can cut this AK to the next round. Luminosity will be down by 5 rounds, but we'll have another buy in the next one, and we might be able to see a double AWP being taken up as well.
Yep. Be great for Nekiz to hold on to this AK. He does have some of the most money on the team, which means that it can be potential for an ult drop, especially because he already has the smoke. He could throw over an ult to Yell or Henny. And a double AWP on the CT side is already pretty stock standard. Pretty go-to play for a lot of the top 10 teams in the world on Dust2. So, especially for a team like Luminosity, when you have basically two players who have experience as primary AWPers, you want to be getting as many AWPs out there as possible.
I mean, Yell was looking pretty solid so far on the AWP as well.
For sure, yeah.
That was
and we've seen him take it up, especially yesterday, a lot more than over Henny, you know? He's definitely been, I feel like, their AWPer of preference on Luminosity. And I thought it would be the other way around. I feel like they tried it out the other way around for quite a long time, and Yell was really struggling to be as impactful as a player on the rifle. So I suppose they've changed it up a little bit. That's a nice leg to start things off. But the thing is that Renegades, all these flashes have gathered them some long control pretty early here into the round. Luckily, Azza doesn't get picked as he jumps into the pit there. So Renegades has taken long control, but the question is, what are they going to do with it? They can throw maybe a smoke to catwalk and a smoke into CT and then run up long, but they've used a lot of their flashes, so they actually have no flashes left. It's going to be pretty hard to cross to the site. They might be getting picked by Yell again on the cross if they're not careful with how they actually make their way across there. Liaz just in lower, playing that lurk role. They're ready. They're very, very aware that somebody could be in this upper to lower area. Luminosity really want to dominate and take this mid control. Liaz seeing if he can punish Nekiz, but Nekiz is looking quite sharp today. I feel like, you know, you were pushing that narrative a little of Luminosity needing to get some wins on the board. It definitely looks like they're here and they're much more focused than they were yesterday, and I'd say that they probably agree with you.
Still going to be a difficult retake coming in. They do have a bit of utility to work with, and they've cleared out a lot of this other positioning, so it's going to be a lot harder for Renegades to try to make this lurk play happen. And Granisfaction on the AWP is, I don't know if the bomb's really planted for him at this particular point in time. He has to go over to platform instead. And now 3 CTs coming in from short, 2 from that CT area. Az is going to be completely blinded. He was low already. Defensive utility being dropped from that T side, and Nekiz, Jacob's going to be trying to hold his ground. Gratisfaction can't land the shot through the edge of the fire, but it's Jacob staying alive at that A ramp area, spraying them all down, and the CTs, they won't be allowed to exit. JKS executes Henny, and Steel just trying to hold on to that M4 at the end of the day. Won't be able to thanks to the bomb explosion. JKS, only survivor, but Jacob has definitely been just impactful so far for Renegades.
Undoubtedly, Kev. He's definitely been, I feel like, the best player on Renegades in this iteration of the roster, and even in the last couple, he's been up there definitely as, in my opinion, the one of the better players, if not consistently the best player on the roster. I feel like Luminosity is doing a lot of things right. We do see Yell on the glass, on the AWP with the light armor, because he has retained so many rifles. He's able to make an investment purchase. Maybe he can save it if the round goes and runs down into a post plant that he can't retake on it, and he can just hold on to it later. Going to be a contact into B here. I feel like Luminosity are doing decently in this game, but when it comes down to the late round, Renegades just have that extra little spice, extra sauce, Kevin.
I mean, we saw that just then. It was a 5-on-4, and it was still, at the end of the day, Jake just getting 3 kills from all the players coming in from short and effectively nullifying all that pressure. Yell going to be looking to get a few exits if he can, but the AWP is going to be dropped, and Jake now spots out another transitioning CT member, Lucas. Shadow identified. Jake S is going to be looking for this kill. He's going to be calling out the location where Lucas is going to be. Slowly crawling in, but it's going to be Lucas getting the better of him for now.
Ooh, he gets 2 picks, and that's, in general, these rounds have been very close, and you can see, look at Renegade's money. They're up 7-0. They have very little money on a lot of their players, really, Kev. Like, you'd expect 7-0, you're up $10,000, but every round's a 2-on-2, a 1-on-2, 3-on-3.
I mean, it's getting to the stage where it's like 7-0, sure, scoreline Renegades are looking like they're in dominant lead, but in reality, 3 of the rounds have boiled down to individual efforts where there's only been 1 player alive for Renegades. Or, I mean, we say that individual efforts, sure, it was JKS and Jakem alive on that 2-on-5 that they were able to resolve in their favor.
It's been them alive in general a lot of the time.
Yeah, but it's only been 1 person alive in the rounds that Renegades have taken it. Even in the anti-ecos, it feels like Luminosity have been able to get 1 or 2 picks to at least keep the Renegades economy honest. So this is still a very close match in my mind. All it requires is 2 rounds for Luminosity to break the straw on the camel's back, to convert the CT economy into their own, and then start figuring out how to dominate away with the 2 AWPs. But similarly for Renegades, if they're able to change things up, and we're starting to see a couple of change-ups at the moment, could also mean that they're able to take the game away from here in Henny.
And I was about to say, Kev, Grat's got to be very careful about these AWPers getting aggressive up cat, and he really needs to fight and make sure that they aren't able to just peek freely and go for picks in the mid-round. So far, this round's going fantastically for Renegades. They've picked 3 CT players there pretty early on. Jakem, you know, not the greatest of jumps to be taking. Maybe want to go for a little side strafe from the other side next time, perhaps. But now Renegade's going to cross to the bomb site. Steel actually gets that pick on JKS in lower, so it's only a 3-on-2 now, but Renegade's still in a very advantageous situation at the end of the day. They've got the bomb down.
Yeah, Greatest Faction is covering off the long angle, which Steel is trying to wrap around from. That's just going to be a call from it. That's just going to be the save from Henny. That is a much cleaner round coming out from Renegades in this buy round. And it's really, once again, thanks to Jakem, who's having a phenomenal game so far, and that is a lot better from Renegades. And unfortunately for Luminosity, they're trying to throw a little bit of, I guess, spanners in the works in terms of that short boost, trying to contest Greatest Faction on that AWP, but it doesn't work out.
I'm really liking this look from Renegades so far. I mean, it's a classic you see from them, right? Like, they can go for that full scrimmy, puggy style where the individuals can just pop off, but it seems like there is a method to the madness. There is a system here where they're taking map control in certain ways. They're trying to punish picks in certain ways. The lower, you know, if they're taking long, the lower player's playing very safe, sitting on the stairs, waiting for his time to peak. Even if he gets punished, he's, you know, not overextending too much, so... You know, I feel like it's going quite well for Renegades. They're playing as a team decently well, and Jacob's having a pretty good game so far. No one really lagging behind too much. But you're going to really need to see them close out this anti-eco fairly cleanly if they want to get their economy rolling. And not only that, once Luminosity start to get some rounds on the board, nice little triple boost here to check plat there. Once Luminosity start to get some rounds on the board, and if their double AWP starts rolling and really doing some damage, you're going to need to see Grat wake up a little bit and start to punish some of those cat peaks and mid peaks and stuff from the opposing AWPers.
Henny is here, though, with that AWP and the B-bomb site. And Renegades, nice little nifty boost, but not going to pay any dividends for now. They're going to just try and retake Smaller parts, trying to regather this map control. Azure is just making sure that Luminosity can't be pushing beyond bedroom.
There you go, Nico Molotov from lowers to the right side of door and just spam through to see if you can catch anybody running out of there and do some extra damage to them. Flash out mid as Grap posts up on the right side for anybody to peek from close or from the CT angle as Renegades slowly start to make their way up catwalk. Going to be Azza holding the long push there as they throw the mid to B smoke and start to make their way up catwalk. They definitely have found the right play in this scenario in terms of how Luminosity is set up as they're hitting a headshot combined with the scroll wheel there.
As it doesn't spot one coming into short, but that's going to be obviously JKS just trying to cover off the angle. Eventually the Deagle shots are going to rain true. Now Yell going to be looking to back away and see if he can pick off Azza as well.
Luminosity guys are pretty good with their deagles there, Kevin.
Able to get the body shots down and actually force it down to a 3-on-3. Might as well go for it. The loss bonus is at maximum level, but Gratisfaction is still trying to fight it out. He is actually going to incur quite a bit of damage. I think that was from Henny's AWP through the edge of the wall. That is a shot and a half from Nekiz, and this is making it a lot closer now for Renegade's side. Nekiz continuing the charge at the moment. It's going to be high flashbang. They got 2 kits as well, and Yell's able to blind.
Jacob's coming from Cat. He's not planted for him, Kev.
It isn't, and Nekiz, he just needs to cover it off. And he won't be able to do so, but Yell's got a kit, and well, Luminosity finally pick one up.
I was about to say, Kev, I mean, that's already done a lot of damage to the Renegades economy, and that's really, I mean, you win with Deagles and just some body armor. You already had the AWP, which you didn't retain. You've retained a rifle, though. Now you can go straight into the double AWP, and if
They didn't retain anything.
They didn't retain anything?
He dropped it to try to pick up the AWP, but he didn't pick up anything.
Unfortunate. Anyway, I mean, they are able to buy straight into the double AWP here, and if that really starts rolling for them, if they win this next gun round really cleanly, Renegades might be up 8-0. They might be winning every single round. It might look like they're in complete control of this game. Luminosity wins next gun round. Renegades is forced to save. They have very little loss bonus. If Luminosity wins it cleanly, they're starting to build their economy. The double AWPs get rolling, and we've seen what the double AWPs do on CT side yesterday. Just watch that NV Ghost Gaming game.
On the flip side, though, is Renegades have taken a tactical pause here. They realize Luminosity's money is not great. You can see that it's been bought down to pretty much that final dollar. And
I'm really hoping that was a Cassard lecture pause of the why you lose to Deagles, boys. Come on. Because that's something, you know, you really need to be pointing those out. Those are the kind of rounds that make halves that could have been 13-2 into like a 10-5, 9-6 half.
I'll have to see how much damage it really ultimately has done to the Renegade side. It could be a blessing in disguise, but it looks like it's going to be a boost through that lower dark position. Oh, sorry. From their short position watching the lower dark. This is a huge round.
If Luminosity wins this, they're back into it. If Renegades wins this, they crush Luminosity for sure. First pick goes the way of Nekiz. He hasn't had a whole lot of opportunities this game, but he's looking sharp and on point. A second headshot from him. He's just fearless in the mid doors there. Does a lot of damage to Azza, and Henny picks up the next 2. This round's already over, and it's all just dueling in mid. What is this angle from Steel? I'm stealing that. STAL.
I mean, that's just clean from Luminosity. They knew how much that round meant. They just took it. Necker's just dueling it out.
Look at that smooth, just running along the wire. 10 out of 10.
I mean, this is the part where Renegades go, all right, maybe if we didn't drop that round against Eagles, we'd probably have a little bit of cash at the moment. But as it is, they don't have money.
Every round's been so close, and yep, they're out of money. That's the kind of thing where you see Renegades win round after round. If you've got this stream on your second monitor and you're not paying too close attention and you go, what, they're eco? How's this happened?
I mean, we were saying earlier is that, sure, Renegades have done well to resolve all these clutch situations, but they have boiled down to these points in time because Luminosity have been playing quite well on the CT side. Their rewards just not being reaped just as of yet. Slowly but steadily, though, they are starting to accumulate the rounds. They're starting to get this money up on some of their players as well.
Yeah, we'll see how many of these guns they can take out of the hands of Luminosity, because let's be real, that last round was clean as hell. Very, very little damage being done to Luminosity. They're starting to build up their money, and they've got plenty of utility left over here. Yell's got potential to pick multiple players before they make their way up Cats. There are only 2 flashes on the tees. First one flies. He is only half blind, so he does get that pick. Second one going over the ramp doesn't even get him, so lucky he doesn't hit that next shot, but that could have been 2 people. JKS going to Dinktown on Nekiz.
It's Dink City at the moment. The Glocks have managed to pick up 2 kills, but unfortunately the rifles are still going to be dropped down low. So JKS He's going to be thinking about retrieving one of the rifles. He's dancing around CT. He's making a bit of noise. I'm not certain if Henny's heard this or not. I think Henny has heard this. You can see he's drawn out the sidearm, but JKS still getting the kill, picking up the AWP and flicking it away. JKS, the clutch master. No, he can't be doing this at the moment. He's trying to go Kukli style, but you could see that shot landing. JKS, 4 kills, 2 with a P250, absolutely railing some CTs. Doing a lot of damage to this economy of the Luminosity side. Only a single AWP is being kept over. Renegades did manage to get the bomb plant down as well, so...
It is thrown over to Henny, which means that the most money is on Lucas, who dropped the gun. He's got 1,700. This is a potential resetting round into a 12-3 here if Renegades win this one, Kev.
But similarly, I mean, I wouldn't even be confident saying it's a 12-3 at this stage. I mean, these rounds are so tightly fought back and forward between both of these sides at this stage. Can't really take anything for granted just yet.
True, true. You never can.
And look at Neckers. He's on a journey. He's on a venture to start trying to grab some of this map control off the tees, and it's going to work out perfectly fine. A 1-for-1. It's gotten a bit of information where the tees are going to be as well. So Lucas just going to back off after some initial aggression. Yell's here with the AWP as well.
It's actually huge. I love the reaction here from Steel and Henny to push into upper dark after they get that pick in mid. Renegades, they do make the reaction where the B lurker falls to lowers to try to assist with mid now that they've lost a pick in there as they go towards Catwalk, and they have had the tendency to take Catwalk and push it a lot. We're seeing Luminosity get very active on the map here, but there's going to be a duel in lowers and upper here. JKS not quite hitting the timing, and Henny, he's been a little bit off today. He's missed some sitters.
Renegades now have to go for that A-bomb site, though. Losing all this upper dark control. He doesn't even know that there's one in backyard, and that might not be called out until too late. Still, he's going to clear this bedroom area, and then all the CTs.
Here goes the cat exec. Yells on the angle. They're not actually committing. It's a ruse, Kevin.
But Henny's here. He spotted out a gun barrel. Going, hang on a moment. Something's a bit odd here. Misses the first shot. Now finding the bomb carrier. Gratisfaction finally landing the trade. They're trying to make fast in the B bomb site. This place is completely empty. Knock, knock. No one's here. Luminosity still is somewhat outplayed himself. He was in such a sublime position, but he missed it by a couple of seconds.
Look at JKS. He knows Steel is the anchor of the B bomb site. Where's he gone? Where is he, Kevin?
He's dead now. And he went, I mean, all JKS can probably think at this stage would be like, all right, so Steel's made a way around, etc., etc. But imagine if Steel got to T-spawn 2 seconds afterwards. He would have spotted everyone going down to mid. It's just Luminosity missing out on a couple of seconds. But Renegades also having the poise to not completely 100% commit. It's so easy.
To be fair, that was a classic round of Henny there where he's like, he hit the much harder shot of like the 4 that he took, but he still took 4 shots and only needed to kill 3 Ts, and he only hits 1 of them. Like, you know, he's a little bit off today. He's definitely missed some sitters, but, you know, it happens. Could have been a Luminosity round.
I mean, still the potential of being a Luminosity round as well. It is going to be a forced buy into it. We've got the Teagle and Neckers and still the AWP in the hands of Yell. And you can really never count that out.
Yeah, I feel like Renegades' money is pretty good here, though. Especially if they get this bomb plant and they still lose the round. It's going to be okay for them.
Yell thinking about when to get this timing in. But both AWPers exchanging shots. Both shots are going to miss, though. Lucas, I think the Ts know that there is going to be one close in the pit position, but they can't really do anything about it just as of yet. They're going to have to keep it in mind. Jacob reloading just at the wrong time, but Az is here covering the angle off. They line up, get knocked down. JKS has to concede this upper control, but realizes Luminosity have pushed in, and Lucas, Gratisfaction falls away from the angle just at the wrong time. He's going to try and push forward, but Gratisfaction is aware of what's going on, covering off the angle just at the right time. JKS trying to make sure the CTs can't save as well. Still making his way to the backyard position while Henny's still stuck in that B site area. Bomb finally going down. This is giving a lot of time for the Ts to hunt, but Gratisfaction needs to be careful. He might lose his AWP here. And JKS also now under pressure as well from Henny. Still comes out on top somehow. And still a big ask right now to try to hold on to this AWP in this backyard area.
How are we feeling about that 12-3 now, Kevin?
Look, Deagles can still happen for Luminosity.
True. There's one for Steel. Other. Only 2 alive for Renegades is definitely a big difference. That looked like it was going to be a 5-0 round for them with a big economy boost there, but Jacob still grabs the AWP, which is better than nothing. Don't want to be spending another 4,700 instead of 2,700.
That's a big affirmative on that one, but Luminosity are not going to be forcing in this one. The next round bye is going to be alright, I guess, but...
Nice little leg on the cross there from Grout. He hasn't really had to do a whole lot this game, it feels like.
It's really been the Jacob and JKS show. It really hasn't felt like the other T so far in Renegades really needed to do anything, and Liaz now under a bit of pressure. Can add at least a little bit to the cash stacks, but... I have to really say,
and all Liaz is thinking to himself there is, how didn't I get 4?
Look, you're not wrong at this stage. Like, Liaz is not going to be happy about that.
I only got a 1.5 rating, not up to my usual standards this game, guys. Sorry to all my fans.
Post that picture of the,
the gorilla.
Orangutan, I think?
Orangutan.
Regardless of what it is. I mean, Luminosity, coming into the final round, they've got rifles, they've got flashbangs, but that's about it. They don't have a kit to contest with, they don't have an AWP. It's really just down to how well the M4 sprays can go down and how many steps Renegades take, I guess, at the end of the day, into the rifles.
They're playing heavily towards mid again on the side of Luminosity, and even when they have been doing this, it hasn't been working out too well for them. I feel like Grat's had a couple of opportunities now to pick that person pushing Cat, and he really hasn't been ready for it.
And look at this counter-aggression coming out from the CT side as well. Lucas, a lot of flashbangs happening at mid, but JKS still able to catch up, still trying to transition into that B upper position, but JKS not expecting 2 to be inside that B side area. Now the rest of the T is trying to make a move on to a different side of the area. It's down to Gratisfaction and Lians to make their way into the A bomb site. They've managed to break it back down to a 2-on-2. Going to be a short plant as well. They're going to try and contest this area, but both CTs are also going to be counter-contesting it. Nekiz has a good belter utility, but he's not going to be using it. He's going to try and wait for the smoke to fade. Liaz thinking about dropping another one, but down to really the matter of timing. Nekiz, he's still being locked away from this. He's trying to think about crossing, and I mean, as time is dwindling away, Henny's gone down to Gratisfaction, and Liaz is just covering the smoke until eternity. And 12-3 is going to be the halftime score. You are correct, I guess, at the end of the day, but it really has felt a lot closer in comparison to other matches. Like, this is the same scoreline between Envy and Ghost, for example, the other day. But
and that was a whitewash. That was like that felt nifty like JDM show.
Exactly, but it felt like Luminosity has had fights that have been going in their favor.
Sure.
But there's been a little bit of Renegades magic that have kept them. I would have felt like that was more of a 6-9 scoreline.
I feel like they just won every, like, 2v2. Like,
not every single one, but
like
I know what you mean.
9 out of 10. So...
generally so.
I feel like Luminosity, I mean, I don't feel like, I know, like, they won, like, the Deagle round and, like, maybe a gun round and an anti-eco, and that was it. That's all they won that entire half. Renegades took everything else.
But there were rounds where they had the opportunities to. They were up 3-on-1, 4-on-2, but they couldn't seize control. Unfortunately, Jacob and JKS were too strong. And now they have a large deficit to overcome. But if they can take heart in anything, if Ghosts were able to take 13 rounds in a row to bring a massive comeback, it could happen against Renegades. Renegades do not want to let this round or this game crumble away from them. And it's all starting with a pistol. Luminosity going to be making a play through this long area. Az has got this flashbang lined up. Jacob ready to peek out as soon as he hears something.
Nice little setup. I mean, Renegades, they already had a pretty creative pistol last time. He's going to come out another one.
Yeah, Jacob. Flashbang comes a little bit too late to save Jacob, but he gets the information. Lee!
Yep.
Okay, there's smoke there, but Liaz goes, smokes nothing. He's in the game. Now the rest of the T's pushing up from Catwalk. They just get absolutely mowed down by Liaz, who's had it off.
Yeah, look, Liaz powering up.
I don't remember. I swear he's mainly had anti-eco kills.
Yeah.
And that last round where he clutched it out. But
yeah, it really has been.
That was pretty disgusting. That wasn't even on his head. That just got a headshot.
He was just trying to shoot the rest of his bullets so he could reload his clip. Get more bullets out there. Alright. Full eco from Luminosity to get into the gun round on the 14th, which is literally giving them no room for error. with the amount of success they've had with the Deagles, I might even go for that at this point, to be honest.
Oh, it's
You're that far behind. It's not even like you're leaning back on the AWP. Like you just won't have one.
I was gonna
Unless
say,
you get the bomb plant.
damned if you do, damned if you don't. And Liaz, he's gonna have to drop back and try to mow them down as they're trying to come across. Flashbang's gonna come out high to blind them, and Azza should be able to assist. Liaz only taking a single dink so far, but Azza, the Glock's just too strong at this stage. Is it just me, or Liaz is a bit of a boring player here? Just sprays down people, he gets kills, and all of a sudden has more kills.
He's actually 16 for 7.
Like,
but I feel like he's got 3 Tico spray downs this game.
We don't mean to rag on Liaz, but it's just like, I honestly, outside of a couple of spray downs and that clutch at the end.
Anything with in the gun round, which is a classic example of why stats in Counter-Strike mean less than you think they might.
I mean, he was obviously, he's been influential.
What do you reckon, Kev? We changed the stat system to when you kill a pistoling player with no armor, it shouldn't be like a whole kill, which should be like a half.
Look, you can do the forensics and investigations in this, and
Forensic
investigations, because Nekis has just been murdered by Azza.
I conclude that Liaz is an anti-eco serial killer at this point. Fingerprints are all over the weapon. JKS upgrades to a AK from Scout. I mean, Luminosity, they've got cap control, but that's about all they've got, Kev. They've got some utility to be able to convert the round, which is good.
But they still got the AKs, and they're in a favourable position with these AKs at the moment.
But look at the utility. Azza and Grap both have Molotovs. Azza drops the smoke. Oh, he had the smoke, actually. Sorry, my bad. Liaz is the one with the molly. So all the utility is actually towards the A side, and they haven't even dropped it yet.
You're going to have to drop it soon, though. Luminosity, they're...
You can always save it for the post plant. I mean, even if Luminosity get that plant down on short, and this is like a 2 for 2, Liaz drops the molly and goes for the defuse, and that's very sad times for Luminosity.
Alright, counter flash coming forward, but Azop is going to have to concede 2 of them dropping down, and they might try to split into this B site area instead. They've cleared out CT, and JKS has to go absolutely huge at the moment. No one's checked his position just yet. He's able to get one and done, but Jacob, he's going to be sitting the window line. He's spraying down the FAMAS, and Henny, the last one left standing, he's already been tagged down very, very low, and he's going to be sweating at the moment. His Gratisfaction, what are those hops going up the ramp? He's defying gravity, and Henny, well, his body's not defying gravity. It's hitting the floor. His Renegades are going to be hitting match point quite quickly. 15-3 so far. It's been nothing but really a clinic coming into the CT side. It hasn't even looked close. And Luminosity, unfortunately, not really enough rounds on their own CT side to be trying to compose a comeback.
It's looked pretty easy for Renegades so far. Luminosity just, I mean, some of their individuals showing up to this game, but game plan across the board and general sort of ability to capitalize on advantages and on, you know, good positions in rounds is just not there. They might be able to contest, they might be able to trade kills back and forth and get themselves in good situations, but at the end of the day, if you can't close out the rounds, if you're not winning those post plants.
Oh, that is a pretty big grenade, but Luminosity not going to be deterred. They're still going to be committing on this short push. Flashbang comes forward. Gratisfaction blinded off the angle. Misses the first shot.
But he's in Goose and drops the flash for him. Oh my god.
And Azza, he's going to just mow 3 of them down. Where is Yell? Yell's trying to make his way out through mid. JKS. Covering the angles briefly, making sure CT is clear, but Yell trying to make his way forward. Jacob, he's been waiting this entire time. It's all down to Neckers at the moment, and JKS is just trying to jump up like a jackrabbit to get the kill. But at the end, Gratisfaction busts out through the edge of the smoke grenade to clean it up. 16-3 for Renegades. Close. I mean, it could have been close in that first half, but Renegades taking the most of the opportunity in the second half given by Liaz's pistol, and they close it out with pretty pristine fashion from there.
Yeah, just JKS and Jacob winning back-to-back every gun round, every 2-1-2, and from there it just felt pretty hard for Luminosity to really get back into that one. I feel like Renegades won both pistols as well, so...
They did.
Yeah, not much you can really do as Luminosity.
Here's the thing, right? Renegades, they actually managed to convert both pistols and anti-ecos. They lost one Deagle round, but, I mean... We were saying that it could have been the catalyst for change. It wasn't at the end of the day, so it was just a brief bump in the road for Renegades. So, I mean, how many of these? Look at this. Jacobs on 10 HP. He pulls off a 1-on-3 clutch, and I mean, Neckers, I felt like jumped the gun a little bit there. Can't really blame him. Yell, he puts in such a huge effort to try to come back in that round, but he misses a crucial shot at the end, and it's all for naught. And so Renegades, they take 2 clutch rounds, and that's what I said. I guess we'll never know what it would have been like if Luminosity were able to complete these results, but you're shooting yourself in the foot sometimes for Luminosity if they're unable to really take the victories from.
You gotta at least start to get some wins on the board, because like at some point, you know, you're a premier Brazilian team. You've been in the Pro League for multiple seasons now, and usually you do a little bit better. You know, usually up towards the top of the board. They've even gone to a finals, I believe, at least one. At some point, they're going to get to the stage where they're getting pretty close to relegation. You know. And that's not really acceptable for a team that's come from a different region and come to play internationally, you know? You really need to be able to get some wins on the board and at least save yourself from relegation, if not start to turn things around. I mean, we saw that miracle run the other season in the EU Pro League from G2 when they were like 1-10 and they made like an 18-0 streak or something to get back into it.
I mean, the whole thing here is that, all right, let's take a step back and go, all right, this has been a shocking start for Luminosity so far, because the results so far, we do have to talk about numbers at the end of the day. They haven't been able to put up the map victories, but so far we've got to be looking at the opposition and how they've been playing as well. For them to take a victory against Renegades, they had to not only show up, they had to pretty much take these clutches against JKS and Jacob. It didn't happen. And at the end of the day, there was just an insurmountable scoreline, and there's only going to be a certain amount of things that you can do. I don't think they did anything fundamentally wrong, but the firepower was just in the favor of Renegades. Renegades have turned up in huge form so far in Dust2. Is that going to transition onto map number 2 is a real question.
Let's be real, like for Luminosity, the caliber of players that you're filling this team with, you know, you got people who have been in major grand finals, you've got people who are mainstays in Pro League who are used to being up near the top of the board in terms of results. You know, for a team like Renegades, let's be real, they're good in the Pro League. They've had a good start, but this is a team Luminosity should be able to beat. Luminosity should be able to beat Ints as well. You know, the only teams that you really get a free pass for going down 0-2 and losing 16-3 against are like, you know, your MIBRs, your Liquids. There's only a handful of teams that you can really make the excuse of, oh, we got 16-3 to 0-2 this game, you know, better luck next time. You have to be able to close out these victories. You have to be able to prove that you're a premier team with the tenure and the quality of the squad is the results in comparison to the names are just not acceptable.
I think you're saying they're not really being all they can be at this stage.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, I mean, thanks to MSI for being our sponsor, obviously, because Luminosity, it just hasn't been, because we're saying that the potential is there. Like, the tenure is there, the experience is there, the caliber of players are there, but they're not being all that they can be at this stage. And as a result, they are dropping these games against, I mean, arguably, you can also say Renegades have come out to play. They're looking in sublime form so far. Sure. I mean, how many times have we seen a previous Renegades roster would have crumbled? They're showing a bit more mental fortitude in some of the games that we've seen from them so far. They've been able to make quarterfinals in, I think, the recent Star Series, was it? So it's already looking promising for the Renegade squad. This is another tick in the books for anyone that's following them. But for Luminosity, I guess this is another cross inside the books. This is something that they don't want to be... They want to be saying that, okay, we're going down by so much in the Pro League. Regardless of what it is, though, map number 1 is going to go in the favor of Renegades. Map number 2, though, is coming up, so we'll have to see who that goes towards after the break.